Hey everyone. So I start this video today with a really heavy heart because of everything that's been going on. Obviously, if you've been watching the news and reading tweets, and even on Instagram, if you've seen everyone's stories, it's all directed at one thing, and it's all about one thing: Black Lives Matter. The worst thing right now is the fact that something like this has happened, and I'm talking about George Floyd, where because that person filmed it, and so many people watched as he literally took his last breath. Honestly, I don't even know if I can talk about this. It's just like so horrible. But honestly, I don't want to make it. I want to actually talk about what's wrong, about what's happening with the system, and why policemen or women or whatever are allowed to behave this way in the United States of America. I'm gonna share some stats and I'm gonna talk about things, and it's just so ridiculous. You would think that a country that preaches about the American dream and things being like, oh, you can do whatever the hell you want here, and it's the best country on the planet because we have everything. We have McDonald's, we have blah blah blah. Oh my God, it's the best place ever. But sadly, it is probably one of the worst places to live in if you are a black man, if you are even a woman, if you are Hispanic, if you are Indian, if you are Bangladeshi, if you are Muslim, anything else but white, you are gonna have a hard time. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, the shit that happens and goes on in that country, and the lawmakers and the politicians and the presidents kind of just sit around and don't do anything about it. They talk and they talk and they talk, but they don't do anything about it. I'm gonna compare this to Canada. And so the shootings that happened in Nova Scotia, it took just that aimless, brutal killing of so many people for our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to just be like, hey, you know what? Here's a ban on guns. And obviously people had a lot of problems with that because they're like, oh, don't just ban guns, you should like regulate it and this and that. Well, how about people that want to go hunting and this and, just all the problems, the same problems and the same concerns that you see in the United States. But the thing is that there is still a licensed way to get guns, but it's the availability and how easily you can get guns, especially in the United States, is what leads to mass shootings. Obviously people are like, oh, it's not the gun, it's the person behind the gun. But how does a person of that mental capability, like, how are they allowed to access guns is my question. After we've seen so many events that have taken place and that all could have been prevented if 16-year-old kids weren't allowed to use guns. Because what the hell? Like, you can literally walk into a Walmart in Texas and buy ammo and buy any kind of bullets or whatever you want. It's ridiculous. But back to police brutality, that's not only in the States, that's everywhere. I was just talking to my sister earlier today, and I was just telling her, like, I think maybe it's just police everywhere. There have been amazing, like, policemen and investigators and detectives on so many cases that have, shook the world and helped so many people. But sadly, all around the world, a lot of, especially like lower post police people tend to get a little like, this is all my opinion. I'm not saying anything from like fact, and I will talk about facts, but this right now, I believe that a lot of policemen in the lower posts come from certain backgrounds where the minute that they're given all this power, they love to abuse it. Just literally what happened in Minnesota is so sad, and it shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. You have to either change the training or do a better kind of background check or a psychology test before you're appointing these people with like their positions and guns. Like, I'm just so appalled at the system that continuously allows this shit to happen. How is it that in 2017, 223 black men were killed by the police. In 2018, 209. And these are stats. Maybe there's some that weren't even reported. Who knows? In 2019, 235 black men were killed. And in 2020, 31. 179 Hispanic men were killed in 2017, 148 in 2018, and 158 in 2019, and 13 in 2020. And unknown races, 139 in 2020. I'm not going to be biased. White people have been shot down by police as well, but it all comes back to the reason that these people were shot down. White people are not, you cannot find a police person that will just say that they were threatened by a white man walking in their own neighborhood, walking their dog, or trying to go to the store. They have never been shot down for a reason like that. Whereas black people have been shot down for unnecessary reason. This kid, he went to go buy a pack of Skittles from the convenience store. This guy, he was just jogging in his neighborhood and he got shot down for no reason. George Floyd was, how did this, okay, I'm gonna come to what happened with George Floyd. Like, how did this person that was on the receiving end of the check, like at the grocery store, how did this person know that this was a faulty check? You didn't even get to cash it in yet. So this is ingrained racism from God knows how long, and that shit is the shit that's not changing. That is what we have to change. It's that inner racism that just doesn't go away for some reason. You know, along with the people that got fired, they shouldn't just be fired. They need to put these kind of cops in prison to set an example, because otherwise they'll just keep, oh, okay, I'm just gonna get fired. Oh, I'll just get another job. Let me continue to shoot people. It breaks my heart to have to, you know, I don't want this to be a topic, like something that's happening right now. I want to talk about, you know, things that interest me and fascinate me. I'm not interested by this at all. I'm not fascinated by this at all. I hate this. I actually hate this with all my heart. I had such a hard day yesterday, just trying to wrap my head around the fact that things like this happen. Since I'm gonna talk about school shootings, because this all comes back to, I think, just the misuse of guns and why, like, it should be a lot, like, guns should be banned, to be honest. That's my opinion. I'm totally against, because I am, you know, all for being friendly with the animals and stuff like that. Like, sometimes I literally sit there and I'm like, I don't think I want to eat meat anymore, because it's just, that's a whole other video, why I don't want to eat meat anymore. I'm a friend to the animals. I love animals. Just, you know, kind of hunting them down for sport is just, it's horrible. It's just so horrible. So I'm just gonna go off on a tangent and talk about school shootings, because this has really been heavy on my mind, and how 2020, like March of 2020, has been the first month since the 90s that there was not a single school shooting in America. What does that say? Let me give you some stats, okay? There have been 288 school shootings in the United States since 2009. And let's compare that to other places, because it's like, oh, this may seem like a big number when you say it on its own, but you comparing it to others, it still seems like a huge number. Since 2009, Canada has had 2 school shootings, France has had 2, Germany has had 1, Japan has had 0, Italy has had 0, and the UK have had 0. And what's a common denominator here? The access of guns is so easy in the States, whereas it is not in any of these other countries, because of their whole amendment and stuff where, you know, it allows you to own a gun if you wish. The number of school shootings, 2015 was 38, 2016 was 30, 2017 was 36, 2018 was 47. This is what like baffles me. Right before March 2020, before COVID happened and everything, there have been 28 school shootings already this year. And if the whole country didn't have to be shut down and all kids weren't going to school and they were sitting at home, they weren't sitting at home and schools were open, believe me, there would have been 20 more already, because it's just such a messed up place. It's so messed up. But obviously I'm just saying this in a very holistic, like looking on the outside kind of way, because obviously there's a billion things that go into play over here. The person behind the gun. Now, why are they doing this? I took psychology in university, and I remember learning about kind of what makes a person tick. Why does somebody go from being this perfectly cute little child to being this psychomaniac, sociopath, murderer, or serial killer? And I personally really love reading up and researching on how people have become serial killers, like going into the background of it, and just psychology behind why people have, kind of done mass shootings, like school shootings, theater shootings, club shootings. What drives a person to be like that? So, the things that go into play over here are, so many things have to do with really messed up childhoods. If they have kind of been through really, really, I had a mirror. If they have been through really tough, like divorces or anything like that, it tends to really affect a child and how they grow up and see the world. Bullying has a lot to do with that as well. Bullying, that's another thing. School shootings, a lot of them have happened because these kids have felt that they are alone and that they don't have anybody else and that nobody likes them and that they're losers or whatever it is, and they're, it affects their, young minds so much that they can't see beyond it. And that's the biggest thing. They can't see beyond what they feel right then. So they feel that the best way and what will make them feel better is to kind of get rid of everybody. Like, oh my God, everyone that's hurt me, I want to kill them. And that's also a very American mentality to go, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go pick up a gun and just shoot everybody. I feel because, they've made it, like I said, so easy to acquire one. That's what it all boils down to, that people can have mental health issues and whatever. That's not the bad thing. That's not what makes you a bad guy. To have mental health issues is not taboo. It's not a stigma. People should be treated for this, but what leads a person from going to, hey, you know what, I'm having mental health issues, I want to deal with it a certain way, but no, instead they'll deal with it with violence. And the States just makes it so easy for them, because it's like, hey, walk into any shop and you can just buy a gun. That'll solve all your problems. And obviously I'm being sarcastic. I hate this already. Oh my God. It's actually a lot super duper ridiculous how this shit works. So, is this what we need to do? Like, confine our kids to all be homeschooled, so in the fear of them getting shot at school? Is that what needs to happen? No, that's ridiculous. Like, kids have the right to go to school. That's something that everybody's fighting for here in Bangladesh, for all kids to be able to go to school, because education is a right. It is not a privilege, it is a right. But then you have like these American kids who are being able to go to school, but they're in constant fear. Like, when is one of my classmates just gonna get up one day, not feel happy, and come to school and completely just open fire at everybody? What has happened to humanity? Like, and I'm not gonna say that this didn't happen before. This is not a current problem. This is oh man, it's such a big issue that has been going on for so long. Oh, so many people blame it on video games. Video games desensitize you to feelings and to people being killed. You see it happening on your video game, so you do it in real life. No, there's so many people that play more video games than people that have maybe played 1 or 2 video games, and these are from stats, but I'm just kind of quoting. Lots of heavy gamers, they're not going around shooting people. That's not what happens. We need to stop blaming it on technology, and I think start actually taking responsibility for why this does happen. So many schools don't have adequate kind of guidance counselors or mental health clinics or something like that, which I think all schools should have, so that you feel that you can go talk to somebody when nobody else is your friend or nobody else seems to understand you. And sometimes you can't go talk to your parents either. I've seen that a lot. First of all, working at a mental health clinic and working for a school, I've noticed that kids don't want to talk to their parents, kids don't want to talk to their teachers, kids don't find solace in their peers, and but sometimes they're like, okay, but if there was a third person who didn't know anything about my life, I would want to go talk to them. That's why we have therapists, that's why we have guidance counselors. It's for stuff like that. It is things derived from mental health problems that turn into violent outrages, which we can technically prevent from before, but those aren't the measures that are taken. Also, it can be prevented thereafter if somebody's already going through a problem. If the access to guns were limited or banned, most of these people would not have had the chance to go on, do this open fire, ceasefire, whatever, and just go on a rampage of killing everybody. This is a time to make changes so that whatever stats we have going on right now, because we're all stuck at home, it can continue like this, so that when kids do go back to school, they're not going to be afraid that, oh, what if I go back to school now and something happens? Because we're seeing that in the stat, we're seeing that in reality, that the school shootings have only really stopped because the potential shooters are all stuck at home. School is not a battlefield. You should not have to go prepared. You should not have to be doing drills to avoid being shot dead at your school. You should not have a metal detector in front of a school gate. Why are we protecting this old ass amendment and whatever, but we're not protecting our people? We're not protecting the kids. We're not protecting our minority people. We're not protecting people of colored skin. Why not? Why not? What's it gonna take? See, that's the thing. I want to say, what's it gonna take for them to start caring about us? Clearly nothing, because shit's been going on to black people. Shit's been going on to brown people, to Muslim people, to Indian people, to Punjabi people. It's been going on, but it doesn't seem like they care. People in power, people care. The people care. People in power do not care. I'm so tired of hearing these stories about Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, just everybody in Toronto, Sammy Yatim. This was years ago, but that broke my heart. He had a knife. Everybody felt threatened, but there is a certain way of dealing with kind of like a hostage situation or whatever. I swear, we watch this shit on TV, but do they not do it in real life? Do they not train you on how to get somebody to drop their weapon or whatever? But no, this man got shot he got shot so many times. He was already dead after the first couple, but the police person kept shooting. There should be a test about who gets to use guns, and that doesn't matter whether you're a normal person or you're a hunter or you're a whatever gun enthusiast or you're a cop. You need to go through a psychosocial whatever kind of examination and analysis before you're allowed to use a gun.
That's what I think. That's, Saraf for president, please.
There's so many ways to kind of bring upon change, but we just choose not to do it because this is what we want. And they didn't care who they were hurting, what they were hurting, if they're killing the planet. Once again, I'm not really sure if I concluded what I was trying to say properly. How about you guys? get the point. This is what I'm upset about. This is what's going on. Not just in the States, all around the world. And I only have a certain amount of time to be talking about everything, so I can't be talking about all the world issues, but like this was the one for this week. I just hope and pray, because it feels like that's all I can do right now with the position that I've been given in life. All I can do is talk about it. All I can do is spread some awareness and tell people why whatever is happening is not right. People don't know for themselves already. I hope our generation can fix it up, and that our kids don't have to go through the same things that we do. And obviously, like, we think about if this has affected us directly, it should be affecting you directly. Like, if you don't feel that it is, it's like, okay, it's not my problem, it's not happening in my country, it's not happening to my kind of people, it's not happening to my race. That's awful. Get out of that mentality. If you feel that this is not affecting you, you might be one of the problems with this planet. Figure that out. I'm not happy about what's happening in Minnesota right now, but it's like, you get people that pissed off, it's kind of like people can stay quiet for only so long. This is just what is the result of exactly what happened to George Floyd. It's just crazy. I'm just upset. That if this is the way the cookie crumbles and that's just how life is, I don't know if it's worth being on this planet. I'm just done with everything here. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to help anybody fix it. I feel so helpless. I just feel like whatever anyone is doing is not enough. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching Chatty Tuesday with Saraf Khan. Catch you next week. Bye.